All right. Okay. All right. Let's make sure the audio is working. Should be good. Should be good. Test, test, test. Let me know. Give me a 1. Give me a 1 if we sound good. And we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, we also need some beats, too. It's been too long. We need some beats. Yep. I can't hear the beats, dog. Oh, my goodness. Wait. I can't hear the beats, man. It's all right. It's all right. It's a little bit disappointing, though. I'm not going to lie. Oh, here we go. Now I can hear the beats. Well, kind of. Not really. Huh. I don't know. All right. We live. Let's get this thing going. Let me get this off the screen. I'm not sure why I can't hear the beats. I'm not sure what's going on. Also, I'm rocking the Halloween shirt today. You know what I mean? I put this on and I was like, I don't know if this is in good taste to be rocking a Halloween shirt today. But this is one of my favorite shirts, man. I love it. It looks awesome. We are live, man. We're here to react to this Lions injury report. And this live stream is being brought to you, as always, I BetUS YouTube 150. Down in the description to get your 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000, man. They're hooking you up. If you're looking for your sports book, BetUS. That is your sports book, man. Check them out. We will give a shout out here to BetUS right now. Let's actually take a look because the odds, the lines are up for, what is this, week 16, 17, 16? For week 16, the week 16 lines are here. I actually haven't seen where the lines are at on this. What's the spread on this game? We're on the road. Lions... No, I have seen this. Lions minus 6.5. We're pretty big favorites on the road here. I mean, I think after really what we've seen from the Bears last few weeks. Here's the thing, though. The Bears, that game could have been a lot more interesting than it actually was. You know what I mean? If the Bears just walked away with some points early in that game, made it interesting. But they didn't do that. They left points out there. But 6.5 is interesting. I think PFF is like saying hit the over on that. Or not the over, but, go Lions on that side. So that's an interesting number. The money line is minus 300. Over under set at 48. It always feels like our over under numbers are set really high. This is going to be a cold game. I think it's interesting, man. I think it's interesting. Also, this is interesting. So this is live. I'm gonna, I'm gonna jump on the over. I feel like every time I go the under, it's not gonna happen. Last week I was trying to make a case for the under. About scored 100 points between each team. You know what I mean? So we can almost double up our money there with a $50 bet. That's an interesting one. So BetUS, man, shout out to them. Now, if you want to get on the action, man, use that code down in the description. This is interesting. So just went down, and this news literally just broke, and I think we should discuss this. I mean, we're going to look at the injury report, but Calais Campbell, the defensive tackle or the defensive lineman from Miami, is being released. Calais Campbell's being released. It says Dolphins releasing DT so he can join a contender. And then it says Calais Campbell could be cut. So I assume that it's going to happen. First off, it's kind of weird because the Dolphins do have a path to the playoffs. But I guess after last week, they're like, oh, maybe not. You know what I mean? Maybe not. Now, they've had good D-line play. Like Seiler's been amazing. Sealer, he's been amazing over there. They have good D-linemen. But Calais Campbell's a dog. And I'm seeing this news, and the reason this catches my eye, man, is because he almost signed here before, and back at the trade deadline, I was trying to come up with different names. Calais Campbell was one of the names that we had talked about. I was like, what about Calais for a trade? Now, that obviously didn't happen, but that doesn't mean he was actually on the Lions' radar, but he was definitely on my radar. So I'm seeing that name. I'm going to pop that in the title. Just because the title's too short. I love that. Man. That's interesting. I would keep an eye on it. He's old, but he's good. He's old, and look, man, he's got, he's unique. The dude's like 100 feet tall. He's got a very unique style. I think he fits in a little bit better at DN because he plays so upright. but he is a very legitimate pressure piece. You know what I should check real quick before we get to the injury report? I'm going to check to see if I actually had the clips, because I'm assuming I didn't delete them. I had like a, preparation for the trade deadline, different players, and one of those guys I said was Calais Campbell. I'm wondering if I had that actually like saved so that I could just go back to that. I don't know what it would be, but I would assume that I had saved that during that time. He's old. He's around that age. I don't think he's 40, but he's around that age, but he is fantastic. I love Calais Campbell, man. And as brought up by Charles, yeah, at one point we thought we were going to add him. He plays inside, outside, which, by the way, I mean, Levi was playing nose tackle at times last week, so everybody's playing inside, outside. And here's the thing, too. So we were live on Bleacher Report today, 4 p.m. Eastern, as always. And one thing that, I was discussing with the Anthony Pittman edition and how that could help us, kind of just going through all of it. One thing that I think is super important about this, too, is that the Lions right now, without a Lee McNeil, and kind of moving forward, and okay, what are we going to be moving forward? Getting Ife Melifonwu back, massive. I mean, you add Ife Melifonwu back into the mix, all of a sudden you have a piece that can really blitz from anywhere, and now gives you a lot of flexibility in the back end, potentially move Branch down. So when you throw what the Lions have, they don't really have an elite one-on-one winner, especially in the interior, right? Or outside of Zadarius Smith. They don't have a big time like he's the pass rusher that's going to go dominate a game. We don't have that piece, and we're not going to have it in the playoffs this year. We don't have Aleem or Hutch like we had last year, unless we get to the Super Bowl, of course, and maybe we do get Hutch again. So the Lions are going to have to do this by numbers, right? They're going to have to do this by committee, kind of like rushing the football. And some of that will be blitzing, and the creativity element that they could add with all these DBs that can blitz. Like, if you get Ife Melifonwu back on the field, and Ife Melifonwu's playing safety, and Branch kicks in the slot, Jamal Adams then reverts to basically the third safety role, you legitimately have 3 guys that are excellent defensive back blitzers. I mean, I know it's like, the thought is anybody can blitz, but it's just not true. A lot of guys can't blitz, successfully. They can, but they won't be successful. Those 3 guys are very successful. I mean, Jamal was playing off-ball backer one time last week just to blitz. So we're going to have to do it through that, but also up front, it's going to be about just having a multitude of guys that can occasionally get a win. And I think that Anthony Pittman could potentially fit into that category. I don't know for sure. Trevor Nowaski's set to be back. He's going to be huge. We missed him a lot last week. But I'm not overlooking the potential that the Lions could look at that situation and be like, maybe we give Pittman some looks. Because Pittman played Sam Backer for the Lions back in 2022 in the preseason. Pittman's played Sam Backer for the Lions in 2023 during the regular season, just in very spotty role. But he's a better pass rush piece. Anthony Pittman, to me, is a better pass rusher than Trevor Nowaski or Ben Neiman or Malcolm Rodriguez, maybe even Derek Barnes in that same spot. So I would also keep an eye on that. I would also really keep an eye on that as well, that Anthony Pittman, I don't think it'd be this week maybe, but if he sticks around, that there's a potential chance, there's a universe in where he competes for that Sam Backer role, because as much as I think Trevor solidifies things by being back, as we're going to pop up the injury report here, I do think that they can get better. They can get better. Like, I don't think what Trevor's done so far is like, man, we can't move off that guy, or this guy has to start because of what he, like, no. There's room for competition, and Anthony Pittman can add that competition. So I'm on board with it. I think Branch going to slot would make a ton of sense. They're going to make Iffy go to outside corner. That would be dangerous. I mean, I guess they could. It'd be dangerous. My thought would be that Iffy doesn't play a ton of safety this week, but the thought is he can play this week, right? He's full participation right here with the hand injury. I don't know. Maybe they like if they dive right into it, then maybe, yeah, I think the future outlook would make a lot of sense. Put Branch back at the slot, because if you look at it, like, everybody gets caught up in the full injuries that we're dealing with, and the conversation is still overblown, in my opinion. Like, the Lions secondary objectively is going to be better in this year's playoffs than what they were last year. I think without question. The only thing that's in question is kind of basically the communication aspect for a guy like Terran Arnold being a rookie, and it was a little bit messy last week, and when Cam Sutton was here, it was better. Right? When Cam Sutton was here, it was better. Yeah, Mosley's been practicing. He's not even on the injury report. He hasn't been on their injury report, I don't think, in a couple of weeks. They just keep making him a healthy scratch. So I assume he's full participation. He's been practicing from everything, from him just not being on a list. That'd be my assumption. But Cam Sutton and Vilder were outside corners last year with Branch in the slot and Kirby Joseph and Iffy at safety. So if you get Iffy back and he can play safety, which we know he can, with Kirby and Branch goes to slot, that's the same trio. Then at outside corner, you're either looking at Vildor and Terran Arnold, which is, similar to what we had last year. Or if you put a Meek Robertson then out wide, which you would probably do, now all of a sudden you'd have, to me, a hands down better secondary than what you had last season. All things good, you'd have a better secondary with better depth, and that's not including Mosley, and if he could potentially start, that's a better secondary unit than last year's playoffs. And linebacker could get very much so back to normal when Alex returns. Anyone hear anything about Anzo's update? Is he actually returning? We didn't get a specific date. They said end of the regular season, potentially beginning of the playoffs, that kind of deal, but they are expecting him to get back. I think when they last spoke on Alex, they said it's on schedule, and that was kind of the initial expectation, is that's where it was going to be. So yeah, I think he's going to be back. It's just then it's probably going to be Minnesota, earliest, I would assume, and then maybe first playoff game. But if he comes back, your linebacker room is in a really good spot. Like if you have Jack Campbell and Alex, that's going to help you a ton with the depth now of David Long and what he did last week. But then again, I think Anthony Pittman competes. I think you bring in Anthony Pittman to compete with Trevor Nowatzki. I think that there's a world in which he starts taking stats from Trevor Nowatzki. I know he seems like depth right now, and that's all it may turn into. But I would at very least begin him rest of practice, and I'd have my eyes open. Like, this guy could potentially take that spot. Because the biggest concern for me, for Pittman, for the very limited film we have, is him playing the run. But he's a better pass rush piece. He's a very good athlete, so he can run it to the flat. He can carry guys. He's a sideline-to-sideline, urgency type of player. But to me, this guy, I think that's competition right now at Sam. So when I think we look at all these injuries, man, I mean, today was a lot of rest. A lot of guys didn't practice for rest. The one to be concerned about is probably Graham, because they said he had to have x-rays. But, I guess it came back fine because no participation today. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one as the week goes along. The other one, if he can't go, Christian Mahogany's kind of been the next guy up. So that could be the case. Hopefully not, but it could be. Obviously, they haven't put Montgomery on IR either. They said they're getting a third opinion. So we'll just kind of wait on that. He's not going to play this week, but we're going to wait to see, what the third opinion is. And outside of that, it's just rest. Outside of that, it's all rest. Then we got a couple guys coming back, and Trevor and Ife Malfano, who's getting hurt next. Branchers. Look, man, and here's the thing, too. It's here. Let me see if I got the I think I was asked today on the not the round table. We're going to the round table next, by the way, over there on the NFC North round table at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. That thing should be live. I was asked, basically, I'm asked the same injury question over and over, and I was like, look, everybody deals with injuries. Now, I know we have a lot, right? And it is a lot. There's no doubt. But every team understands that their team is dealing with something. You know what I mean? Someone's dealing with something, and, it's just that we don't understand it like their team does. Like, if I came into a game and I was like, yo, we're missing Trevor, that's a big miss. Everybody else in the league is like, who? That's not a big miss. Trevor Nowatzki. We'd look at that injury report like, all right, whatever. Every team deals with things like that, though, right? Every team goes through it. Now, we're just dealing with it, unfortunately. We're dealing with a lot, but I still think that even if we throw that to aside real quick, we just look at the current situation. I put together this graphic. I think the Lions there's a very strong case that when the playoffs start, the Lions are going to be in a better spot in a lot of spots defensively than they were last year in the playoffs, outside of the defensive line, which is why I think Pittman should be competing for a look here at Sam, because I think you can get better there. I think you can get more pressure there. And it's why this flexibility in the secondary is a must, because they're going to add a lot of the pressure elements that we didn't, that we're going to need, right? We're going to need, because we're going to have guys win in spots. But I will say that, and this was over on Bleach Report. We did the show at 4 Eastern today. So if you want to see my full breakdown of this, but I think if you look at position by position, we're not in a bad spot, in my opinion. I think we're in a fine spot in a lot of senses, of course, offensively, but even defensively. I think we're gonna be fine. I'm not that concerned, to be honest. I think we're gonna be fine. It's just a couple of guys need to shine for us right here. Levi, Reader. A couple guys need to step. Levi's having to play everywhere. Reader just needs to continue to be on the track that he's on. I think he's playing his best football recently. So he just needs to continue to kind of stay on that track of being very good over these last few weeks, because that allows Pat O'Connor to play the 3 technique where he's better, because when Pat goes to nose, it's messy. So he's going to have to take on just a heavy workload. That's the problem with Reader. It's just a heavy workload there. And, that's really what it is. I mean, it's really what it is at this point, right? The big injuries were Monty, which we're going to be fine. It doesn't concern me really at all. I love our running backs. How hype are you for Jamar Goat Jefferson? He's a dog, bro. You know what I mean? And that Jody, that's why I'm not worried, though, about that one. I hate that we're going to be without Monty. But, dog, I love our running backs, bro. Bring up Jefferson. Give Vaki some touches. I assume it's going to be the Craig and Gibbs show. I don't want it to be the Gibbs only show because we can't do that to him. We can't put that many touches on him. That's not who he is. And he has never really done it in the NFL. But I love what we have in backs. And especially if they decide to go like, hey, let's give Vaki some touches. Look, Monty did not look right at all last week, especially when he had the little banged up thing. And he's a very heavy zone runner, and Craig has done that almost really exclusively this season, is all zone runs. Vaki, to me, is the guy that can excel in a zone scheme. I think Craig's a little bit better with the gap scheme, but they're both very solid there. Craig's very smooth, very good vision. I can show some clips from Craig. He's been good this season. So I'm not worried about that at all, honestly, at all. And then Gibbs, when he's picked up the slack of being a very good goal line back, like, we're going to be fine. And they need more rep. Hey, Nowaski, well, we're going to feel we felt his importance. I think Nowaski's one of those guys where you kind of felt it when he's not there. You know what I mean? And I think he's replaceable still. I think he's definitely still replaceable. Like I think he should be, potentially. But you felt it more than was there. I will give Ben, though, credit. Like, Ben did improve towards the end of that game, and he put together like a sequence where we forced a field goal because of Ben kind of alone, like Ben just making 3 straight plays on top of each other. So shout out to Ben Neiman for that. But I think that's up for grabs. I think it's up for grabs for me. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this injury report I think is very promising. Like, we already knew about the 3 major ones coming into this, so there's nothing really new there. But I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, we can go into this. I want to quickly look at I haven't checked any of the Bears stuff, so I want to look at the Bears and just see what they're dealing with. Ryan Bates, no participation. That's their tackle. He's got no participation with concussion. Javon Dexter's been missing some time, so still no participation there. Tevin Jenkins, that's their starting guard. Braxton Jones is their other. Well, actually, take that back. Ryan Bates is a backup. I'm sorry. Braxton Jones is their left tackle. Bates is not a starting tackle. Bates is a backup. I feel like we saw Bates. No. Who came in last week? It was Borum. Was it Borum? I think it was Borum that came in last week, so take that back on the Bates one. But I think it was Borum last week. I don't know why that. Anyways, Tevin Jenkins and Braxton Jones, 2 starters, no participation. Darrell Taylor, the edge rusher that they went out and acquired. I think they traded for him from Seattle. And then Roshan Johnson is finally back. That's good for them. They got the little combo back there with Swift. So their offense line's a little bit banged up. And then the Javon Dexter one's one to keep an eye on because they lost him a few weeks ago and it's changed the run defense a lot. And especially without having Andrew Billings, like it's been a lot different. So, like I said, that's a perfect example of like every team deals with this in some capacity. Like, we wouldn't ever talk about Andrew Billings. But the Bears fans know, like, man, when Andrew Billings went out, it's constantly brought up to me. Nick always brings, hey, Andrew Billings changed our run defense, not the same. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. But it's like, hey, you get their perspective, and I think that's where it's this. I would stay out of this business. I would stay out of the business of making declarations about teams that you don't know, because based on injury, like, you could base it on everything else. Don't make declarations on a team based on injuries that you don't know well, because it's going to turn into a disaster, because you just don't know the ins and outs of what that team's going through, what adjustments they've made, who's sliding into different spots that they're not used to, more than the people that actually follow that team specifically. I wouldn't do that for the Bears or any of the other teams because I don't know them the same way. And that's I think the issue is I think I kind of hate it, but it's almost addressing it, like, carrying over that narrative. I hate doing it because I think it's a garbage idea. Like, obviously we're hurt, yes, there's no doubt, but I think it's just garbage when that's the only thing we talk about. It's like the sky's falling, because it's like who's stirring all this up is the people that don't know about Trevor Nowaski. No one talked about that. No one brought up that injury. All people talk about is the guys going to IR, but it's like, we're gonna be fine. So anyway, side little rant there. I don't know, just whatever. Can we see Knight instead of Jefferson? Oh no, hey, get Charles out of the chat. I don't Charles, you crazy dog. But I do hope we give Vaki some touches, to be honest, because I don't think we're going to see many. I think he'll maybe get like 2-3 a game, maybe. But I hope he gets some. I don't think he'll get much at all, but I hope he gets some. I think it'll be a lot of Craig Reynolds. But I hope he gets some, because I think he can add so much dynamic ability to this offense, man. And like, this is his chance, man. This is his chance. And before Monty got re-signed, and I may be wrong on this, like I was super high on Vaki. So for me, I'm just like pumped. Like, I can pull my Vaki shirt out. I can wear the Sione Vaki shirt and be hyped. Like, if he's actually getting the football, come on, man. You know what I mean? But I would also say, like, before the extension of Montgomery after he drafted Vaki, I was like, well, maybe this is the ultimate replacement for Montgomery. Like, Baki's that going to be that guy? And then they signed him. It's like, okay, maybe not. Maybe I was getting ahead of myself here. And it was worth extending Monty. I have no issue with it. But I don't know. I mean, I think he's that good. I think he's that good. Baki, a two-way player. He's a two-way player. I wouldn't put him on the defense. Like, I didn't like him very much. Like, when we drafted him, I thought we drafted him as a safety, and I was like, ooh. Like, okay, that's what I knew him as. And everything was just average to me, at best. And I didn't know enough about him as running back. I had only watched him play Washington as a back. So I didn't think that was even a thing. And then you guys, when we drafted him, were like, yo, no, they're saying he's playing running back. And then we got into the running back side. I was like, oh, gosh, this guy's got something at running back. So I wouldn't put him on defense. I'd put him on special teams. I don't think I'd put him on defense. I didn't love him at safety. I did not love him at safety. Injuries took us from a juggernaut, still Super Bowl favorites. Yeah, I mean, I think that's 100% fair, and I think that's accurate for probably every team. You know, not every team, but I think every team probably has that. But the flip side is like, it almost like it's almost like expresses how important matchups are even more. Because now you have to start throwing injuries into the matchups that you came into the season projecting matchups. Like, you come in projecting Graham Glasgow, how's he going to do against Kenny Clark? And it's like, well, hold up. Now, if we don't have Graham Glasgow, how's Kenny Clark going to do against Mahogany? Because now all of a sudden the matchup completely changes. You know what I mean? So I think it just puts more stress on that. You stayed up till 2 a.m. and watched Vaki at Utah. No, I watched him after we drafted him. I didn't watch him before we drafted him. I didn't watch him before we drafted him. Well, I did watch him before we drafted him, but I didn't like watch him live. Nah, I ain't watching no dang Utah. No, I ain't doing none of that. None of that mountain. Look, I watched him before. I thought he was a safety. That's all I had watched him as a safety and a little bit as a back. And then we drafted him. It was like, oh, this guy, I thought he was going to be special as a back. I still think he's going to be special. I still think that there's a very good chance we walk away from this draft and he's the best player we drafted. I think it's actually very likely that he's the best player that we drafted. We'll see. I think it's very likely that it actually is going to be the case. I know this would be the guy that I'd like stake my claim that this guy's going to be a dog. He just needs to get the opportunity. I just want to see what it turns into. Okay, I don't want to go to that graphic too much though, because again, that was over there on Bleacher Report. So I'll leave that to that. We looked at the injury report. The Calais Campbell thing is super interesting though. I was gonna see if we may have to do a video on that. I would keep an eye on it. I'll say this: if we don't do a video on it, because we may not be able to time wise, just keep an eye on the name. If he signs, we'll do a video on it. Of course, we'll do a video on it. I was trying to see. But I would just say keep an eye on the guy. Because I know that I had put graphics together back at trade deadline time, because he was someone that I was like, yo, Calais Campbell. And I was like, I'm going to make the case. I'm going to pitch. It's always hard to pitch Calais Campbell because of his age, but I'm always going to do it. You know what I mean? Because I believe in this dude. This dude's a dog. And he was actually having a really good season. I don't think I have the graphic anymore, though. I don't think I have it. Let me check. I don't think I'm going to have it, man. You think the season is over? No. Man, all right. No. We're fine, NFL plays. I mean, no. Good. We're good, dog. We're good. I'm telling you, if we would have won last week, if we would have got the other side and threw a Hail Mary and won that football game, this would not be the conversation at all, man. I'm just being, I wouldn't be, because we would have been like, well, next man up. I'm telling you right now, it's strength in numbers, man. This is what it is. And the Lions have numbers. Like, I feel really good about their depth. I feel better about their depth than I did last year. I feel great about that. And Miles Adams, who was a healthy scratch last week, is active. I feel great about that. He played awesome against Green Bay. So, yeah, this was my graphic back at the trade deadline. Yo, I forgot this. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Oh, I hope this happens, man. I hope this goes down. I put Mr. Getting Edge. Yo, Mr. Getting Edge. Get off depth. Reaction timing. Yeah, he's a smart player, bro. He's a vet. He's savvy, dog. He picks up on the snap count, man. High awareness, position flexible. We know about that. His contact balance. You do miss some tackles. He's 38. I don't know. Maybe he turned 39 during the year. And that's where he was at the time. This is what I said. A good day 3 pick. Look, bro. The guy might get released. He might get released, man. Yo, if this guy gets let go, I guarantee the Lions will be out there looking for him. Because dudes just don't come available at this time. Not like legitimately they're going to help you. And Calais is one of those character guys, man. Long arm, bats. Yes, that's a great one. That's a great one, man. You know what I mean? Like, these guys just don't pop up. They don't just pop up, available during the season. I'm telling you, man. I would keep an eye on this name. If he gets officially released, you know what I'd do? I'd be willing to bet a 10-piece on BetUS that if this guy gets released, the Lions sign him. I'd bet on that. I don't know what my odds would be, though. Hopefully I get some good odds, though. You know what I mean? If I'm betting on a guy signing. But I'd bet that he signs with the Lions if he does get released. It just makes too much sense. And we're the obvious fit, bro. We're the obvious fit. If he coming back is fantastic, I'm honestly shocked. I honestly didn't think we'd see him this season. And all of a sudden, it's weird how the season goes in like stages like that. You know what I mean? Like at one point, I'm like, man, hey, we may need Rakestraw. And then right now it's like, okay, maybe a little bit longer. And it's like, wow, it actually turns out we really are going to need Rakestraw. And, then he ended up getting hurt again, and we had to kind of pivot off it, and Vildor had to step in. And all of a sudden it's like, bro, if he coming back would mean so much to this defense. It would give us so much flexibility. Bro, it would give us so much flexibility in the back end, and we're going to have to lean into that, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's hard to find teams in the league that's good at every unit. All right, most teams are pretty bad at it. Most teams have some questionable units at worst, right? And I don't think we have bad units. I think that our linebacker core gets a little bit shaky when we start to get really deep, and they can be put into bad spots. I don't think our defensive line's great right now. I think it's fine. I think it's probably a little above average right now. But I think our secondary kind of got to lean into it now. It's like even without Carlton, we got to lean into the flexibility, lean into this elite safety duo. You put Iffy in that mix, you got something, man. And that flexibility creates so much for us. Go play him 15 snaps per game. Exactly. Like I would claim him, and he would essentially replace Jonah Williams, right? Jonah Williams played like 20-something, 24 last week. He would replace Jonah Williams for me, who's playing defensive end for us. And his position flexibility to play inside outside, he could actually play DT if we wanted him to. Like he could do that. And then, yeah, for the youth, like, dude, I'd be all over that, man. I hope he gets released, bro. I'd be all over that, man. We need more edge depth. Behind Za'Darius? I mean, I guess it's just what we're talking about for it. Like, I think Pittman's going to compete with Trevor Nowatzki. That's what I would do with him. I have clips on him. I would bring him in. I'd let him compete with Trevor Nowatzki immediately, and I'd leave the door open for him taking the job. I would, then you have Pascal playing DN. Levi's still playing a ton of DN. It's like they like him there more. They've kind of just stuck with that. Even with this injury, they've kind of stuck with that, which is, it puts a lot more stress on Reeder because Pat O'Connor then goes to defensive tackle, but I think he's better as a 3. But if Reeder can take on the bulk of the snaps, then all of a sudden you allow Pat O'Connor not to go to nose tackle. Levi went to some nose tackle last week. So we're going to be stressing, I think, DJ Reeder, but even though we're stressing DJ Reeder for that, like, it's also we're having a backup nose tackle's great. You know what I mean? So whether that's going to be Broderick Martin or Levi continue to kick inside, then it puts you on defensive end. And in the meantime, like Miles Adams can play defensive end. If you added Calais Campbell, he could play defensive end, which then would give you more flexibility to just keep Levi inside. And because then you'd have Pascal, Za'Darius, Miles Adams potentially, or Jonah, plus Calais Campbell. Like then you'd be in a, you'd be fine. You have a lot of flexibility then. I think that's Lions could use is more flexibility for Levi, and he could create some of that. I will show this little, just what I'm kind of thinking, because I went back, man, and it's started in 2022. The guys played a lot of off-ball backer recently, and I think it's okay. Like you can see the Will Backer upside there, but when this guy's on the line of scrimmage, like he was a legitimate pass rusher. This is 2022 in the preseason. This dude was cooking the Falcons. I mean, he was cooking them as a pass. I'm watching him like, bro, none of our sandbackers were doing this as a pass rusher. Right? Now, I do have questions. I really do. That's him in the flat. Questions about him playing the run. So that'll be the thing they'll have to decipher in practice. But here's 2023. I was at this game. 2023 Commanders. They were up big, so he's in the game here. Then there's kind of the edge step, but it's not great. He doesn't disengage that quickly. I think he loses his gaps a little bit too much against the run, which is kind of a problem. That lateral movement might also be an issue. But he's an athlete, right? You get him out in space. He could chase things down right there on the zone read. So I don't know. Like, I think he comes in and competes, and he has a chance to take Trevor's job. I don't want to say take Trevor's job because he'll probably just come in and be death, but like I would leave the door open and be like, we can get better here. And if we're going to be a team, because think about it like this, if we're going to be a team that doesn't have like elite rushers on the interior now, and you take out Aleem and now Za'Darius is like the guy, if a team comes out with 2 tight ends and the Lions are matched to that personnel, and you got, you know, let's just say you put Levi out there with DJ Reader, with Za'Darius Smith, and Pat O'Connor. Let's say that's the front. So if that's the front, I mean, you can throw Pascal in there too. How many of those guys are going to be consistently dominant? You know what I mean? Run to pass, like play the run, then rush the passer. How many are going to be consistently dominant again after the quarterback? Za'Darius will be the best. Za'Darius will be the best. In the interior, you'll get some splash wins. So you'll get, you know, maybe good matchups. You got a backup guard, and they go to work on that guy. So you'll get that, and you'll get some like occasional wins probably from all those guys. Levi will give you some occasional wins. He's got 30 pressures this year. We're going to need that. Reader's given us 8 over the last 3 weeks. He'll give you occasional wins. And same thing with Pat O'Connor just by getting off the ball. But your Sam backer doesn't give you anything right now as a pass rush piece. Now, Trevor gave us a little bit last time he was on the field, and it was great because Bears he didn't at all. Gave us a little bit. But if we then had a guy like Pittman come in, and he was actually creating some of those, occasionally he wins one-on-one against the tight end type of deal, but a little bit at a higher rate, or maybe even occasionally against the tackle. That's the big thing. We can beat tight end. Can he occasionally beat a tackle one-on-one? If we can get to that level, now it's more about the numbers of we have guys that are all capable of winning. We don't have an Aaron Donald, but we're all capable of winning, and just on any given rep, we just need someone to find a way. And I think that's what the Lions are looking for now is like, hey, we can't replace Aleem and Hutchinson with Aleem or Hutchinson. They're not out there. Calais is not those two, but Calais would help. Calais is another guy very capable of winning. So you just add another guy to that mix, the rotation there. And I think that's why it's going to be so heavily on, like, we have to lean on the numbers of our team. We have a depth that just doesn't, we don't have guys that can't get after the quarterback. And Trevor kind of fits that category of guy that I don't think can get after the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Trevor can really get after the quarterback that much at all, especially against the tackle. So you add a guy like Pittman, and he can a little bit. Now you are a little more well-rounded, and then you get to the secondary aspect where it's like, yo, if Branch is in the slot, he can blitz from there. You add that back. If he from safety can blitz, he rolls into the box. He'll play the run. He can play strong safety. He can get after it. And then all of a sudden, Jamal Adams now becomes your legitimate third safety, which was, you know, kind of the role for C.D. Deuce last year. He can blitz as well, and the Lions love him there. Now you got 3 dudes that can blitz, and you don't know who the heck's going, right? You don't know who's coming after the quarterback. So I think that's going to be the Lions' key, is going to be like defensive back blitzing, which in fairness has been kind of the Kansas City Chiefs' key for years now, and it's going to be the strength and the numbers that they have. They're going to be incredibly deep. Just checked his Google page. It says Campbell has been released. Bring him to Detroit. You know what? Yo, he's released. He's going to sign. He's going to sign. I think he's going to sign with the Lions. You know what I mean? I think that's, my bad. My guy's texting me. I think he's going to sign with the Lions. Chet, come back to this moment. But he's going to sign somewhere else. We're going to do a show when he signs with the Lions, man. We're going to do a show. Start finding Decker and Graham last guy replacements. Hopefully that's Mahogany, man. Like, it surprised me a little bit, but they're going with Mahogany. They're letting dude be the backup guard. So maybe it is Mahogany. I don't know. Maybe it is. And then, you know, maybe Manu is, right? That's the hope. That's the hope. But Decker did get that extension. He got that 3-year deal. I think it was 3 years while we were at camp. That was fire. Well deserved. It's nice to have a Decker. Man, Decker doesn't lose much, man. I'm telling you, unless he's against like a dog. Like if he's against like solid play, he doesn't lose much, man. I'm going to be honest. Like last week, I'm like, yo, he's not really losing. Like it surprised me when I saw him lose one. Can't teach 6'7", 300 pounds. I'm trying to find any of these clips. I know I had clips from this. I don't think I'm going to find it before we get out of here. When was the trade? When's the trade? Like end of October? Had to be around that time. This might be the clips. I don't know. Oh, no, I think this was. Yeah. What are the chances we sign Campbell? I think they're high, bro. I'm telling you, if he's officially released, I think the Lions sign him. I'd be willing to bet that he becomes a Lion. I'd be honestly a little surprised if I heard that the Lions like didn't make a push to go get him. Even if they don't get him, like that they'll make a strong push to go grab him. That's my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they are like, no, that guy's trash. I don't think that's their reaction, but maybe maybe that's how they feel. I don't think that's how they feel though. Okay, where is the? Actually, I think I do have clips of him. What the heck was that? All right. Nah, this is just Arden Key, dog. I got some Arden Key clips, though. Hold up. Arden Key. Out of Arden Key. I went crazy on Arden Key clips. What the heck? Well, here's what we'll do. We'll find it if we do make the move. Baltimore grabs him. Yeah, that would make sense, too. I'm not saying we need to. Like, I would like to see Miles Adams get more snaps. Like, I don't think we necessarily need to. If Miles Adams, goes out there and gets more snaps, then I think that'd be good to kind of go back into that direction a little bit as well. After what we've seen over this last week and where we're at now health-wise with the Lee McNeil injury, I'd go back to Miles because Miles can play interior as well. Like, he fits a little bit better in there. Nah, I don't got no clips, man. I don't got no clips handy, man. All right. I'll have to go back and find my episode with Bleacher Report that I did. That's what I got to do. Find my episode with Bleacher Report. But hey, y'all, when we leave here, man, we're gonna be over there. We're gonna be live on NFC North Roundtable tonight, 6:15 Eastern time. Usually about when that thing starts to live stream. I'll be hosting that show. So yeah, rep the Lions. There's gonna be some haters. I'm just laying it out there. Like, there's gonna be some haters, man. You know how it is. So we ready for it. But that's just how it's gonna be. So support the Lions. Fire back in the comment section. I think it's right. I don't actually know what. Yeah, I don't know. It must have been like that way longer ago. All right, whatever. Anyway, we're on to Chicago. Yeah, that's it. Vikings are big haters. Oh, for sure. And now they're believing in themselves. You know what I mean? Now they believe in themselves, so they're gonna be hating. I'm here for it though, man. It'll make it just that much more sweet when we beat them in the last game of the season. Everything on the line and they lose. That's gonna be beautiful. That's what we're here for, right? We're here for the entertainment. All right, I'm gonna move over there. Jared Goff chant at the NFC North Roundtable. That'd be fantastic. That would be fantastic. I'm going to move over there, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Shout out to BetUS, YouTube 150. That's the code sponsoring today's live stream. Let me drop the link. I'm going to move over there. If you're just joining, man, run it back. We talked through a few different things. I feel like this is one of those subjects that I could talk about for hours just because it fires me up, man, the whole injury stuff. But it actually, in a lot of ways, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting in a lot of ways, man, because I just feel like we're going the right direction. Not the right direction, but I feel like we have a lot of potential answers. I think we have a lot of potential answers. So I'm actually pretty excited for what this could turn into, and I think it's also a lot of opportunity. Guys like Levi to go earn a deal, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool opportunity for some of these dudes, and especially at corner, the flexibility that it could bring will be fun too. I mean, Amik's on a multi-year deal, man. Can he play a little wide? Man, like, bro, they charge you $50. Really? I haven't had that issue. I don't know. Maybe you using it wrong, dog. I charge you $50 withdrawal. You may have used it incorrectly, Uno. You know what I mean? But if that's true, if you actually having those kind of issues, man, we try to get that figured out. That should not be the case. I've withdrawn money. It didn't cost me $50. But yeah, that's the link, man. I'm gonna jump over there. I appreciate y'all joining. Have a great rest of your night. Join us at the round table. What's up, Shift God? And we out.